Hello everybody, this is Moose101, and today I'll be giving you guys my Baby Raccoon deck profile. I know I've been on hiatus for a little bit, and that's mostly because of technical difficulties I've been having, but it's also a little bit because class has started up again, so I'm a little bit more busy now. Now I'm hoping to move to kind of a more structured video release schedule then, where I'm going to try to release a video every Sunday, just because that's really what's most convenient for me, and that works for all of you guys. So, without further ado, I'm going to get right into the deck profile. So, to start off, on 3, Baby Raccoon Tantan. When he is flipped, he special summons a level 2 or lower beast-type monster from your deck, besides himself. Tantan's kind of your main, initiating engine, I guess. You want to get a Tantan set on your turn 1 if you don't have another play you can make, and he's always a very solid plane to fall back on. So, he's good at 3. And then I have 3 Baby Raccoon Ponpoko. When he's normal summoned, you can special summon 1 level 2 or lower beast-type monster from your deck and face down defense position, so you're almost always going to go for Tantan so you can get that flip effect. However, if you do, you cannot special summon any monsters for the rest of the turn except for beast-type monsters. Ponpoko is most there, it's just your 4th, 5th, and 6th copy of Tantan. But sometimes you'll also be a little bit more helpful than Tantan would be because you can put another level 2 beast on board, potentially if you had a Tantan that flipped already. Got a special summon off, and then next turn you could go for a Ponpoko and actually make an Xyz monster while also setting up another Tantan. So he's good at 3. Just get to those Tantans as quickly as possible. And then 2, Super-Nimble Hamster. When he's flipped, he special summons a level 3 or lower beast-type monster from deck in face-down defense position, so he too will be going for Tantan more often than not. It just gives you a 7th and 8th copy of Tantan, basically. It also can kind of catch your opponents off guard, because if they're trying to kind of plan around how many monsters you're going to have after Tantan flips and gets a special summon, and they attack and find it's actually Super-Nimble Hamster that will then leave your Tantan on board next turn, that can mess them up. Hamster is also a level 4 monster, which is important because it allows you to go into some bigger plays, bigger monsters, which are really, really good to get out early on, because then you can bring them back from the graveyard later on if they die. And then 3, Valerifawn, Mystical Beast of the Forest. It's probably, I'd say, the main engine card of the deck, although Tantan you want to generally open with. Valerifawn really gets your plays kicked into gear. Once you can discard a card and then target a level 2 or lower beast-type monster in your graveyard, special summon it in face attack position or face down defense position. So make Synchro plays because it's tuner, make Xyz plays, set up Tantan. It's really excellent. It's a great card at 3. 2, Uniflora, Mystical Beast of the Forest. This is one that I don't see a whole lot of people run. And I understand why, because you can only use his effect if the only monsters in your graveyard are beast-type, and so sometimes if you go into a non-beast-type monster, he will actually be dead in your hand, but I do just like him as a level 1 monster, which allows you to kind of change your Synchro plays a little bit. And when his effect can be used, it is really, really helpful, because you can distribute him and then special summon any beast-type monster from your hand or graveyard, and the only restriction is they can't attack that turn. But, you know, Rico or a Naturia Beast or a Leo or something like that. Really, really awesome plays this card. If you don't like it, I would just replace it with extra copies of Key Mouse, which we'll see later on. So now for the main monsters that we're going to be aiming to special summon off of all these lovely special summon effects that we have. That is 2 copies of Kalantosa, Mystical Beast of the Forest, and 1 copy of Wind-Up Kitten. When Kalantosa, Mystical Beast of the Forest is special summoned by the effect of a beast-type monster, you can target a card on the field and destroy it. So any of the monsters I previously mentioned that can special summon it face up would be able to activate its effect. And additionally, Wind-Up Kitten then, his effect is that you can target a card on the field, or monster, and return to the hand. It can be face up, it can be face down, but you can only use that effect to Wind-Up Kitten once it's face up on the field. However, through manipulating your graveyard, making Xyz and Synchros, you can oftentimes actually bring Kitten onto the board multiple times. He's just a different kind of removal from Kalantosa to make something that you really don't want to send to the graveyard, like potentially a Dante, or, you know, more likely a Construct or a Wind or something like that. Then Kitten's really your guy. Next up I have 2 of the Fabled Cerburrel. If he's discarded to the graveyard, you special them from the graveyard. This is also able to be activated by cost, because the Fabled monsters do that, so he's not like the Dark World monsters. So his effect will activate when being discarded for Valerifawn and really for anything else. Fabled Cerburrel allows you to make the Fabled Synchro monsters, which are really, really good. And he also allows you to sort of fill the board faster sometimes if you actually draw into him. So he's good at 2. I think at 3, he was a little bit more cloggy sometimes, but of course then I was able to make plays with him more often, so it's a trade-off. 1 Key Mouse, it's just a level 1 Earth Tuner. He's, you know, the other side of Uniflora, which I say that meaning that if you're not going for Uniflora and your player, you're probably going for Key Mouse. Key Mouse, if you store by battle, you can add a level 3 or lower beast type monster to deck to your hand. That's not very common. It's not very common at all for you to get search off Key Mouse just because he's so much slower than Tantan is, but nevertheless, I do like him at 1 just for the option. And then last I have 1 Junk Synchron. When he's normal summoned, you can special summon a level 2 or lower monster from a graveyard, but it's effect negated. Junk Synchron's just there for a very easy, like, 1-card play later into the game. He can also bring out a really cool Synchro monster, which is why he's very good in this deck. So that's it for the monsters. Moving on to the spell cards, I have 1, 2, 3 copies of Obedient Schooled, the card that just, oh my gosh, it takes the deck to another level. You can only activate it if you control no monsters. You special summon 3 level 2 or lower beast type monsters from your deck. They're effect negated and they're destroyed during the end phase, and you can only activate 1 Obedient School per turn, but that doesn't matter because normally you will be making a Synchro monster with what you bring out. There are no restrictions on whether you can roll summon or set that turn, so after you do Obedient School on your first turn, you can go ahead and step a Tantan or summon a Mega Hamster and go into a Leo play, anything like that. Really, really excellent at 3. I don't really see a reason why you wouldn't run 3 of it in this deck. Next up, 3 Ayers Rock Sunrise. You special summon a... actually, no level restriction. I started to say level, but there's no level restriction. A beast-type monster from your graveyard. And then, if you do, all monster opponent controls lose 200 attack, not defense, only attack, for each, like, of the beasts that are in your graveyard still. So, bring back Naturia Beast, make them all lose a bunch of attack. The one downside to Ayers Rock Sunrise is that because it's a spell card, it will not activate Kalantosa's effect if you summon it, but if you have a Uniflora in grave, you can just Ayers Rock for the Uniflora, then tribute the Uniflora for the Kalantosa, and you'll get the same effect. The attack loss is also really nifty, just for, sometimes just going for games, you can bring back a Leo and reduce a monster to 0, and then just chunk for 3100, so. Moving on to spells, I have 2 Closed Forest. This is a card that I really have a lot of fun with. All beast-type monster control gain 100 attack for every monster in your graveyard, and then field spell cards can't be activated, and they can't be activated, the turn this card's destroyed. So against any deck that uses a field spell card, this is obviously a very good choice because it means you never even have to see it on board in the first place. So Cosmo Town, no, I'm not going to destroy that. It's actually never going to hit board, so that's fun. And it can also get just really, really massive because when you use Ronin Raccoon, the tokens will benefit double from the attack boost because if they're copying one of your monsters, there'll be the initial attack boost on that, and then their original attack will become the boosted attack of that monster, and then they'll also get the bonus. Sounds a little bit complicated, but I'll explain a little bit more later when we get to Ronin. And then just 1 Terraforming. I'd run it instead of the 3rd Closed Forest just because it helps thin the deck a little bit. I also run 2 Monster Reincarnation. You discard 1 card and then target a monster in your graveyard and add it back to your hand. Monster Reincarnation can activate the effect of the Fabled Cerburrel, and it can also be used just to pitch monsters that aren't really helpful to you in your hand, like Kalantosa. And I just find it useful too for getting back Valerifawn and Tantans and stuff like that. And then running out spells, I have 2 Mystical Space Typhoon to destroy any spell traps that Kalantosa can't get over or around, such as Skill Drain or Vanity's Emptiness. Moving on to the trap cards, I run 3, one of the Phantom Beast, mostly because it backs up Naturia Beast so incredibly well. Because if Naturia Beast becomes 3k and your opponent can't activate spell cards against certain decks, that is actually a death sentence. It also allows you to draw cards, sometimes get your opponent off guard, with things like Ponpoko becoming 1600, getting over Senju's attacking them and then drawing a card, so lots of fun stuff there. And then just a few staple traps, Bottomless, Torrential, Compulsory, and Solemn. That's it for the main deck. Alright, so now moving on to the extra deck. So to start off, I have 1 of the Fabled Unicore. It just requires a Fabled Tuner and then a non-tuner, so you'll make that with Cerburrel. It's level 4, and it has 2300 attack, which is pretty solid, and as long as you and your opponent have the same number of cards in your hand, it will negate the activation of any spell, trap, or monster effect activated by your opponent. It's a really nifty card. It can be really useful on your turn especially to make sure they can't activate trap cards, and yeah, it's just great at 1. I don't really find myself going to 2. I tried at 2 at one point and I just never really used the second one. I also run 1 of the Fabled Kudabbi. Well, you have 3 more cards in your hand, it will actually destroy itself, but if you have 0, it can't be destroyed by battle or card effects, so it can be a good stall card. And then for my last 4, I run 1 Herald of the Arclight. Any card sent from the hand or deck to the graveyard is banished instead, and when your opponent would activate a spell trap or monster effect, you contribute it to negate the activation and destroy it. Herald is also just a nice level 4 that you can actually make with Valerifawn, so sometimes that's important just for clearing space, and yeah, I like him at 1. For 5s, around 1 Naturia Beast, who just requires Earth monsters with a tuner and non-tuner, and he can negate any spell card active by your opponent by sending the top 2 cards of your deck to the graveyard, so he's a really, really excellent card in a lot of matchups. 1 Thunder Unicorn, it's just a nice removal card because it can target monster opponent controls and make it lose 500 attack for every monster you control. If you do, only Thunder Unicorn can attack that turn. He's just really useful for getting over really, really big monsters, and he's also nice because you can actually make him off of Obedience Schooled, unlike some of the non-beast type monsters. 1 Frozen Fitzgerald, this is the 5 that you make off of Junk Synchron. It requires a Dark Tuner, so Junk Synchron, and then a Beast type non-tuner, which is going to be whatever you grab. When it attacks, your opponent cannot activate spells or traps until the end of the damage step, so it's kind of like Armades in that sense, except it doesn't do monsters. And additionally, if it's destroyed and it's the only monster you control, you can discard 1 card, special summon it from the graveyard, and face up defense position. It's 2500 attack and defense, so it's got very solid stats, and the fact that it can recur and potentially also activate the effect of Cerburrel when it does that, that's just a really excellent card. 1 Naturia Barkion, when your opponent activates a trap card, you can banish 2 cards from the graveyard, negate the activation, and destroy it. It's Dragon type, so you can't make it off of Obedience School, sadly, but it is still a nice card to have access to just for play with Valerifawn and Tantan and such. 1 Vulcan the Divine, being Beast Warrior type, he's a target for Horn of the Phantom Beast, and when he's summoned, you target a face card you control and face card you opponent control and bounce both. The deck runs a fair number of like continuous cards such as Horn of the Phantom Beast that you can bounce back to hand and potentially use later, or you can bounce a token or a kitten and use back to hand, any kind of thing like that. And also bounce cards opponent controls. It's just a very helpful card. 1 Leo, he's, you know, he can't be targeted by card effects of triggering main phase 2. He's just a really awesome boss monster because he's so big at 3100 attack and you can recur him very easily. For Xyz monsters, around 2, number 64, Ronin Raccoon Sendayu. It cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects while you control another beast type monster, and you can detach meter control from it once per turn, special summon a token that is level 1, beast type, and has attack equal to the attack of the monster on the field with the highest attack. So this one main with the Closed Forest double attack boost is that if it's copying, say, Ronin and he's gaining 400 attack, the token's original attack will be 1400, and then it will also gain 400 more and become 1800. So just a cool little thing you can do with it. Also, 2 Ronins is a quasi-lock because you can't destroy either of them. 1 Sky Cavalry Centauria. It's also Beast Warrior type, so it's a one of the Phantom Beast target, and also after damage calculation, if attacks or is attacked, you can attach material to bounce the monster that it battled, and it can't be destroyed by battle while it has Xyz materials. So, very excellent removal rank 2. 1 Herald of Pure Light, you can attach material from him, add a monster from your graveyard back to your hand, and then shuffle a card from your hand back into the deck. Put, you know, Valerifawn's back in your hand, and get rid of dead cards. Very excellent. 1 Diamond Direwolf. It's sometimes able to be made off of a play involving Obedience Schooled. I'm trying it as my rank 4, I've gone into it every now and again. Just very excellent. Attach material from it, target a beast or beast warrior or winged beast monster you control, and a card opponent controls, and pop both. So sometimes just getting around spells and traps and stuff that are a little bit harder to remove otherwise. And then 1 Downer Magician. During your main phase 2, you can Xyz summon by using a rank 3 or lower Xyz monster you control, so usually this will be rank 2, it has to be rank 2 in this deck. Something like Herald, it gains 200 attack and defense for each Xyz material it has, and it does pierce battle damage, but when it does battle, it has to attach material afterwards. So it's just a bit of a beefier monster that you can take a Ronin Raccoon that maybe had to ram a token with or something. It's just a really nice card. So that's it for the deck. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please like the video and subscribe to the channel, and let me know what you think in the comments below. Until next time, see ya!